In today's lesson, I will be talking about the order of operations. This is a very important math lesson, and it applies to all levels of math. There's a little saying that helps us to remember the correct order to work out the math problem, and that is something called PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. And some people like to have a cute little saying to help them remember this, and it's usually the saying of, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." That's just taking the first letter, P-E-M-D-A-S, and making the cute little saying, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." It just helps us to remember what each of these letters are so that maybe you will remember the correct order. The P stands for parentheses. P stands for parentheses. So if there's any math problem and it has the parentheses in it, say it's like this and it has 2 plus 5 and then times 3, we would need to do the parentheses first. So we would do the 2 plus 5 before you did the multiplication. The parentheses goes first. The next thing that happens is something called the exponents. E for exponent. Now an exponent, remember, is something that is raised to a power. So if we have a 5 squared, that's an exponent. So if there was a problem that said 5 squared plus 2 minus 1, you would do the exponent before you would do the adding or subtracting. We would do that exponent, and so that would give us 25 plus 2 minus 1. And then you could continue with the problem. So you do the parentheses first and then the exponent. Next is multiplication and division. Now this is really, really important. These two things go together, okay? They go together, and you do whichever one comes first, left to right in the problem. So whichever one comes first as you're reading the problem, left to right. So multiplication doesn't always come before division. It's just whichever one comes first as you read the problem. Multiplying and dividing, they go together. So you do whichever one comes first as you're reading the problem from left to right. And we'll work some examples here in just a few minutes. And the last two things that go together are the addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction. And this is just like multiplying and dividing. It is whichever comes first, left to right, as you're looking at the problem. Left to right, addition and subtraction. Okay, let's work out a few examples to make sure that you have this correct order. Let's say we have the problem 2 to the third power plus 4, I'll put that all in parentheses, minus 6 plus 2. All right, according to our cute little saying, we must do the parentheses first. Now this problem, inside the parentheses, we actually have an exponent. So this one's a good challenging problem for you. So let's do the 2 to the third power. Remember, 2 to the third power, I'll come over here to the side. Let's remember that 2 to the third power is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. So that gives me an 8. I'm going to leave my parentheses there. 8 plus 4 minus 6 plus 2. I like to always show my steps. Now we can work inside the parentheses, the 8 plus the 4, and I get 12 minus 6 plus 2. And now remember, addition and subtraction, you just work whatever comes first, left to right. So the 12 minus 6 is 6 plus 2, and then 6 plus 2 is 8. And that would be your answer. I'm going to make that 8 look a little bit better for us. There we go. Okay, so now it's kind of like the problem gets bigger and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, let's do another example. Let's pretend that we have 12 times parentheses 2 plus 10 minus 5 times 2. All right, we know we need to do the parentheses first, so we'll do 12 times 2 plus 10 is 12, minus 5 times 2. So again, we need to do multiplication left to right. So 12 times 12 is 144, minus 5 times 2. Now, do we do the minus or the multiplication first? Well, according to PEMDAS, multiplying and dividing go before adding and subtracting. So 144 minus 10, and then that turns out to be 134. Okay? Again, it's smaller. It's a large problem, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you get down to the final answer. Now, I think that you will soon see that all of the problems are not too bad once you do follow the PEMDAS. Let's do another problem. Let's do 8 times parentheses 15 minus 11 plus 2 to the 4th power minus 6. Okay, let's do our parentheses first. So we have 8 times 15 minus 11 is 4 plus 2 to the 4th power minus 6. I only do one step at a time, notice. Now I'm going to do the exponent. So 8 times 4 plus 2 to the 4th power. Remember, you might need to take a little time out over to the side. 2 to the 4th power is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so that gives me 4 times 4, which is 16. So I'm going to put that right here, 16 minus 6. So 8 times 4 is 32, plus 16 minus 6. 32 plus 16 is 48 minus 6. And I subtract that and get 42. Always take a few minutes and look back over and make sure you follow those steps, but you take each one in the correct order according to PEMDAS. That's a really, it's kind of like a puzzle. It's kind of fun. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope that information helps you. If you'd like more information about other middle school math classes, units, or lessons that I have available, or if you'd like some tutoring help, please just send an email to stemtutorplace@gmail.com. stemtutorplace@gmail.com. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you again next time or hearing from you via email. Thanks so much.